Hello everybody, this is Betsy from Ideas Times 2 and I have a tutorial for you today. I made a domino book and the covers are made out of dominoes and inside are the pages. The book is tied shut with these ribbons on each side. It's a double-sided book and I have attached a bead dangle here. There's a little ornament up there made out of beads and bead end caps, and the little feet are made out of bead end caps as well. A little bit of embellishment there and glossy accents over the image, and the back I have another image with glossy accents. So that is what we're going to learn how to do. Before I start though, I want to let you know the images are from GeckoGalz. I'm on their design team. This ephemera kit here has got these two pages, and they're beautiful images of little children angels, or just children. Mostly I noticed that they were angels, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So that's that. Definitely check them out. And I also used for my background paper, which I'll show you in a minute, I used I used 2 sheets of their Victoria paper pack. So that's what these are here, and they're absolutely stunning. So let me open this up and show you what it is. I'll put the link for GeckoGalz down below so you guys can all check them out. So if you undo one side, you can look at the book like this, and it opens up pretty much like a book. And if you open both sides, then you'll get the full book, where it's an accordion fold, and you can see all those gorgeous little angels on there. And then you turn it over, and there is another set of angels. They're all different. So I got all of these images from those 2 pieces of paper. So let's get started, and I'll show you how I did it. All right, so the first thing is, where'd my dominoes go? Here we go. Let me bring in my whole shebang here. Let me zoom out just a tiny bit. So, of course, you need 2 dominoes and some cardstock, sturdy cardstock for your base. And then you'll need, of course, the lovely images from GeckoGalz. A lot of other miscellaneous, but those are the main components of the project. You'll need distress ink, you'll need glossy accents, you'll need ribbon, and you'll need a strong glue for those feet and the ornament that are on there. So I used this Aleene's Jewellet, and I think it worked pretty well. I experimented with it a little bit. I banged the feet against my glass surface, and it did not budge. So I think that worked pretty well. And I also put I put a little washi tape here on the edges. It has a little foiling on it, and I made sure the ends of the washi tape were stuck down with a strong glue. That was a little bit fussy work there, but I think that's worth it to keep the washi tape down. I also inked the edges of that a little bit before I put the washi tape on. So the first thing is to take your base and score it. So I have my tiny little scoring tool here. And don't worry, I will have a link to our blog and all of the dimensions, and I'll try to list the dimensions down below as well in the description box. All the dimensions will be down below. So you take this paper, it's 1 7/8 inch by 8 5/8 inches, I should say, and you score at 7/8. I should say before I start, these dominoes are, I think they're just a typical size, but I measured them for you just in case you have a different size. You can adjust your measurements accordingly. but my domino is 1 5/16 wide and, oh, I'm sorry, 1 15/16 long and 15/16 inch wide. That's hard to say. So that's the size of my dominoes. So we should definitely mention that. So you're going to score at 7/8. Also forgot to mention, so you need 2 sheets. Unless you have double-sided cardstock and you feel it's sturdy enough, then you do not need to have 2 sheets. I printed this lovely Victoria pack paper on 110-pound cardstock, and I glued it to another 110-pound cardstock. It's, as you can see, I used the same sheet of paper. So in my opinion, the one sheet was not going to be strong enough. So, but you know, it's totally up to you. If you have a double-sided and you feel like it's strong enough, just go ahead. But I went ahead and did 2 sheets glued together, and I did that off camera so you didn't have to watch me glue paper together. So 7/8, back to the scoring, 1 3/4. And since it's pretty thick, you know, you're going to have to bear down on it a little bit. 2 5/8, 3 1/2, 4 3/8, which is there, 5 1/4, 6 1/8, 7 inches, and 7 7/8, like that. I'm going to do this one over again. All right. And then it's just an accordion fold. Something went haywire here. 7/8. Oh, that's why. I scored it on the wrong line. 7/8 of an inch is first, and then 1 3/4. I did that wrong. All right, and then you're going to accordion fold this. Make sure you burnish those folds really well. Another thing to make sure is, see, this edge is folded too high, so you're going to make sure that's flush. So I'm going to continue folding this, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so here we have it, our accordion folded paper. It should come out just right for you. Just make sure to keep your edges flush before you burnish your folds, and it should come out very nicely for you. All right, the next step is to, I'll show you in my book. The edges here are rounded, and it makes a little dip. So we are going to round these edges, and I use a 1/4 inch rounder. So first of all, we're just going to round the end, and then fold it in half, that first fold, and just punch that like that. And then you've got your nice little dip and your nice rounded edge there. So I'm going to continue to do that, like that. And then after you get those all done, you just do the bottom part. So just make sure all of your corners are punched with your corner rounder. So I don't know if you can see that. Like, this one doesn't look as deep. I think I maybe didn't have the paper in, so I'm just going to go back and redo that. There we go. I felt that. There we go. So that's the way it will be. And just go ahead and do that around, along the whole edge. And then after you're done with that, I like to ink it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but so I just go over all the edges and ink it like that. Of course, I would do that after I punch this, so I'm just showing you on this side, and then I like to do the other side as well because it doesn't always get. And then I also do the edges. Like that, just to define each page. So you are welcome to do that, but you don't have to, obviously, if you don't feel like you want that look. So there's that. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'll be back. So here is my finished accordion, and the pages are decorated with these little images from the Winter Blessings kit. I say kit, but it's I don't know if it's really a kit. It is a couple pages of ephemera cards. And so this is the trick that I did. I made I drew around my domino, and then on a piece of acetate. So could be leftover packaging, or if you have acetate from paper crafting. And so it's just a little piece of acetate, a little clear, anything would work. And I drew around the domino, and then I used a Sharpie marker to outline it so it has color. And then what I did was I held it up to my images to see what I could cut out. So that's how I did that. It worked out really well. So then you'll draw around that and then cut out your image. And then I also made another little template. Like this would fit perfectly in there. So then I took my image and then drew around this, and then made sure it was all nice and perfect. Sometimes I had to trim a little bit, but it came in handy to have both of those. One was just to make sure it's not, you know, up or down too far if you can't see. And then the other one was to get it, narrow it down even a little bit more. So that's what I did. And I think it worked out really well. So then you will cut out your little images. I've got one here that I didn't use, and this is what it looks like. And then go ahead and ink around your edges. Ink around your edges. And you will need, let's see, I think it's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. 10 and then only 8 on the other side. So 18. You'll need 18 images altogether. The reason why you don't need 10 on this side is because this side gets glued onto the domino. So go ahead and glue all your little images onto your paper. What I did was I made one go up a little bit. See, there's more of a border here at the bottom, and then the next one I made it go down a little bit, so it kind of is a little like up and down. And I just did that for a little variety, and you can certainly just do them in the center of all of them. And then it's the same on the back. So go ahead and glue all your images down, and then there isn't a lot of embellishing that goes on because you want your book to fold up nicely. But I just have a couple of, I had a paper that had all kinds of words on it, just text. And so I cut out some tiny little words that I thought were kind of cool for the angels. One says wings, the other one says star, because these two little angels are holding stars. let's see if I have any on the back. I have another word. It says beauty. So you're kind of limited to embellishments, but that is one thing I did. The other thing I did was, since these are all snow scenes, it's winter blessings, I spattered it with white gesso. And then the other thing was I put, it is a little bit hard to see, but I put just a little bit of gesso kind of at the top to look like snow coming down. Like maybe you can see it on this one a little bit better, to make it look like snow was dripping down. So that's what I did. You know, it's up to you what you'd like to do. So that is how you do the inside. Let me show you how to decorate the dominoes, and then we'll glue everything together. So the way you do this is you're going to have your image a little bit bigger. Let me see if this is the size here. So if you have this template that you made, this is the same size you'll need. Otherwise, just outline your domino on your image and then cut it out, and then you might need to trim a little bit and round the edges. So you'll take your image, let's just do that. Let's do that with this little gal right here. I'm going to make sure the star is in the image there and try to center her. Oops, my acetate was sticking. Alright, so we have our little image. Let's see how, if I need to trim. Looks like I need to trim a bit, so when I have to trim, I usually trim just slivers off of each side to sort of, especially if I'm pretty happy with the way the image is centered. I think just a sliver more. I'm doing the sides first. Okay, that looks good. And let me just, one more sliver here. Okay, good. And now the bottom, and top, I guess I should say. So I'm going to take more off the bottom because I want to keep that star in there. Okay, just a tiny bit more, I think. All right, now I'm going to round the edges. I think I rounded these by hand, but since I have my tool right here, I might as well use it. And now let's see if it fits. It looks very good. So I'm going to ink my edges. And I used, you know, I'm gonna take these off of here so you don't have to look at my ugly scoreboard, which you've already looked at for a while. Okay, get back in frame. So here is our outer image. And I used glossy accents to glue these on. And let's see. Of course, that's clogged at the moment. Let me check, let me just get this unclogged. There we go. All right. Okay, so I used Glossy Accents because it's got a firm hold. But you may choose to use something else. I had it because I'm going to cover this now with Glossy Accents. I would let that dry for a little bit. Make sure the edges are nice and glued. It's looking good, looking good. All right. Just for the sake of the video, I would let that dry just for a little bit. I'm not sure, maybe 10 minutes or so. All right. And then I'm going to cover it with Glossy Accents. And then, of course, this needs to dry for, I would say, overnight. So, my bad. I think we should do this step first, obviously. So a good way to do Glossy Accents is to just do an outline border and then fill it in. So Glossy Accents, after a couple hours, you're gonna think it's done because it looks perfect, but it is not hard yet. If you put something on it, like anything, if you put anything on top of it, I don't think it would stick, but it would make marks. I did that one time. It just wasn't thoroughly dry. It looked dry and it felt dry. There was no tackiness at all, but it definitely needed to dry longer because I had, like, I don't even know what I put on it, but it was pretty bad. Made a big old dent in it. All right. So if you have any air bubbles, check for air bubbles. Oh, I don't even have any. That's really weird. Okay. You'll usually get 1 or 2 air bubbles. So that's it for the cover. Except, you have to let it dry thoroughly. When that's dry, it's a good time to put on the feet. So you would just take your bead end caps. I used, as I mentioned before, I used the Jewlet. Just put 2 dabs of glue here. Put your bead end caps on the surface and then just put it on there and it should stay up. So put it in a place where you don't need to be. Put it in a place where it's not going to be bumped, and then let it dry for as long as it says. 24 hours before wear. It's for jewelry, so it says 24 hours before wearing. Let it set 10 minutes before setting object. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Okay, so they want it to get tacky. So what you do for this stuff is you'll put the drops on, let it set, hold it like that, or put it up like this. Put your drops on, then let it set for 10 minutes, and then put your bead end caps on, and then put it like this, and just let it dry for a long time. This says 24 hours before wearing, so that would be another overnight thing. So once you get your Glossy Accents dry and your bead caps on and the little ornament, you don't have to put an ornament, but this was the same idea as these feet. I put a bead end cap and then a bead and then another bead end cap. So once you've got your Glossy Accents and your feet on, you'll put that on and do the same thing, just let it rest. You could do it at the same time as this, I guess, because if it's going to stay upright for you, you could do that. So that's the way I did it. You are free to not use the feet or ornament at the top, but that's just, I'm just letting you know what I did. After this is dry, I did this before I put the feet on. I'm trying to think. So I did it before I put the feet on. I used a little washi tape and I went around. No, I didn't. I did it after the feet. So you're totally free to do it however you want, but I felt like, this is my opinion, I felt like I was gluing something to the washi tape, and I didn't want that. I wanted to glue it directly to the domino. So that's what I did. I did the washi tape after all the gluing of the feet and the ornament. So as you can see, it is the tiniest little washi tape. And I just did that for a little bit of extra decoration, but I didn't want it too fancy because I felt like the bead end caps for the feet and the top and this. And I have a couple jewels on there, so I thought that was enough sparkle, but it does have a little foiling on it. So I would say after the ornament and after the feet, then put your washi tape on and make sure that you glue those ends down with a strong glue. You could use even this if you want. I think I used my classic Fabri-Tac, which is how I glued the pictures onto the accordion fold too. That's one of my favorite paper glues. So that's gonna have to dry. Now, let me think. All right, so the cover is done. We've got our bead caps glued on. The next step would be to glue it in. So before you glue the accordion fold on, however, you need to find some ribbon. All right, this is just something I grabbed. It's not, the ribbon needs to be 14 inches long to wrap it with a nice generous bow. And then what you'll do is, so here's the back side of the domino. I'm going to pretend like the front looks like this. And then this is the back side. So before you put your paper on, so you're going to, the two ends that don't have any images, those are going to be glued right on here. And before you glue them on, you need to do the ribbon. So did I just drop that? What happened to my ribbon? I did, I dropped it. Take your 14 inches and center it on here. And glue that down. And just wait for it to be stable a little bit. And then take your accordion fold with no image. I'm going to use this side because I know I cut that side a little short. You'll put it down and glue that down. And I would use a very strong glue. I used glossy accents. So it's up to you what your favorite strong glue is. Use a strong glue for both, I guess both for the ribbon and for the accordion. So you're going to glue that, and then you're going to take another domino. I better find one. So that's all glued. Here, I better cut this so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so there's the 14 inches. And that'll be glued on here, okay? And then you're gonna take your other domino, make sure I'm in frame. All right, you're gonna take your other domino, do the same thing, put your ribbon, center it, so there's 7 inches on each, well, it won't be 7, but you know what I mean, half and half. And then glue your other paper on like that, okay? So then you'll have an accordion folded book. And you can tie it here, and you can tie it here, except I have it smashed. You can tie it there, okay? And then when you open it up, you'll have your accordion book, like that. All right, and I think that might be it, except for our ornament or our extra things. Okay, so if you choose to just glue, these are paper flowers. They're already glittered. One is not. These are just tiny little flowers I got at Hobby Lobby. And these flat backed jewels, they're like iridescent colored. I just put 2 of those on there, and use your glossy accents or a strong glue to glue those on. Then the other thing I have is this bead dangle, which I made. I just made a couple of jump ring, a chain from a couple of jump rings, and then attached some beads. So let me show you here. Here is a bead charm. I don't know where I got that. It was already assembled. This little wing charm I got at Hobby Lobby, and I put it on an end pin, and then I attached it on with a jump ring. And then I made this little dangle with some crystals, and I put those on an end pin, and then attached it there with a jump ring as well. So I just made sort of like a mini chain, and then attached 3 little charms to it basically. And then, so that is it for the decorations. And then I'll give you a little hint on how to tie this. So I would hold it horizontally. Why did I say horizontal? Horizontally. I know better than that. Horizontally. And then loop it, and then bring your other loop down around the back. See, normally I would tie it like this and then bring it through the front, but a little key to doing this so it lays horizontally as well is to bring it around the back. See, then it lays very level with that surface. And then we'll flip this over and do the same thing to the other side. Loop it, bring it around the back, and then poke it through your little opening you have there. Fluff out your bows. Gotta have fluffy bows. And that's it. Once you get the hang of it, and once you've made 1 or 2, it's really super fun and easy. Oh boy, I hope I was in frame for that. So I will close for now, and I will see you guys real soon. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and like this video. Give us a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. Check us out. I'll put all the links where you can find us down below, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.